Don't flash your boobs on camera. Do 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 do. Don't flash your boobs. Hello and welcome to Kiss My A's. My name is Emma Cownley and I am a freelance copywriter and blogger. Today we're going to be talking about how to be more referable and how to refer others. As a freelancer, and I've said it many times on this channel, quite a lot, I'm going to say maybe over a third of the work I get comes from referrals from other freelance writers. People that I know, that I've met, that I've worked with before, who pass work to me or collaborate with me on projects. Usually they are the most fun projects to work on and the nicest clients that come through those guys. So today I'm basically going to be speaking as somebody who frequently refers work to others and who has been referred. So when I'm going through points on how to be more referable, really what I'm talking about is what I specifically look for and what I would kind of feel most comfortable with as someone who refers. And just basically going over the etiquette of referrals, because it's not just, all plain sailing. There are certain kind of rules and etiquettes which must be abided by. My first tip in order to be more referable is to go networking. So my first tip is to actually get out networking and meet people face to face. It's all very well and good to cold pitch. I recommend cold pitching myself. I've done an entire video on cold pitching, but for referrals, it's kind of different. You want to, before you refer someone to a client for work, you want to be able to have met them, have a face for a name. When you meet people face to face, you kind of understand their vibe, you can feel them out a bit, you understand what they're like, what they might be like professionally, you get an understanding about their temperament and all that good shit. Really, when you refer someone to a client, that referee is a reflection on you. If I refer you for the job and you turn out to be the world's biggest dick, the client is going to think poorly of me and of you, So get out networking, make it regular, form relationships with people and get them to a place where they feel happy and comfortable, that they know you well enough that they can place their professional reputation in your hands, and also that they can tell whether or not you're going to be a good cultural fit for the client they're referring you to. You have the right skills, temperament, emotional intelligence, personality, whatnot, to be an amazing fit for the person that they are referring you to. So it's very important to form that relationship face to face, really. So get out there. I've done an entire video on networking and the events that I personally attend. I'll link it in the top corner and in the description box if you want to have a little rifle through for some networking tips and advice on the best places to go to find other writers and start generating those relationships and getting those referrals. My second tip is to show what you can do, be that in an amazing online portfolio or using LinkedIn and Twitter to just share your achievements and projects that you've just finished, or client testimonials, or by just writing your own blog posts and making your own stuff. I have my own blog on my website that I publish content on every other week. I've got this YouTube channel here, and I also contribute regularly to Creative Rehab, the punk zine for writers, designers, illustrators, photographers, whatever. We all get together and contribute whatever we'd like to this piece, and a lot of other freelancers contribute to it, and when they receive their copy in the post or they download the PDF, they can see what your imagination is like and how you behave creatively when there's no holds barred. Really what it comes down to is that thing of show, don't tell. You need people to be able to read your actual writing or look at what you've done and understand which jobs you'd be a good fit for. Again, it's like the networking, they get a sense of what you're like creatively and the kind of thing you can produce, and then they know which jobs to refer you for. And they actually have a place to send clients. This is something that I always do when somebody asks, do you know anyone for the job? I send a list of names, but I also send links to portfolios, websites, LinkedIn pages, just so that the client can have a little look through, visit, have a dig around, get a feel for who they like before they reach out and make contact. It gives them a tangible way to explore the skills of the person I've referred. So it's kind of a double. It shows the client what you can do, and it also shows your contemporaries what you might be good at and what you get up to when you've got creative free reign. This next point is mildly controversial in that if you have a strong business proposition or writing niche, it's easier for people to select you for certain jobs. So if you are a UX, UI, technical writer, medical writer, whatever, if I get somebody land on my website asking me to do a job on pharmaceuticals or for a medical client, I can say, well, that's not my speciality, but I know a handful of writers which are specifically medical writers. Would you like a list of names? And then they can go off. So whenever anybody's thinking of a specific job, you are the exact person that comes to mind for that job because that's your niche area of expertise. So it is useful if you like more referrals to specialize. But again, I've done a video on this. To specialize, not to specialize. It's a pretty even argument. In the case of referrals, being specialist is sometimes kind of useful. This next tip is for times when you are thinking of referring someone for work. So for an example, if I get approached and someone's like, do you know anyone that can do this? The first thing I would like to do is approach the writers that I think are good for the job and say, look, hey, I've had someone come up to me, they're asking about this. Do you have any availability? Because if you do, I'll put your name forward. If you don't, I won't bother. What's the point in me handing over a list of names to a potential client, and when they find the one they like and they reach out, you're not even free for the work? It's not helpful. If I'm going to be helpful by referring the job, let's follow through. So that's just a nice little bit of etiquette there. Just make sure that they're free and that they're interested before you put them forward for the job, because they might not be down. Also, another little etiquette tip is if the client has approached you and you're not right for the job because you can tell it's going to take more time than the client might think it's going to take, or they're not particularly happy with your rates and they want someone cheaper, or there's anything around the client which has given you a red warning flag and that's why you don't want the work, but you've decided to be helpful and tell the client, I'll see if there's someone else that would like this. Always pass that information on. Just say, hey, I've been approached by this person. This is the job they've got. However, I turned the work down because of X, Y, and Z. It's your prerogative if you'd like to go ahead with it, but these are the problems I have had. It's really shitty to hand the problem off to someone else. If they're not willing to pay your rates, just make sure that somebody knows that this guy's on a budget before you hand it over, because otherwise it's a bit of a dirt move. Another piece of etiquette to bear in mind is that some freelance writers do have a referrer's fee that they like to take off of the top of revenue if they've passed a job along to you. Now, usually people will tell you this up front. Like, I've got a client who's looking for work. I'll pass it on to you, but please bear in mind that I usually take a 5 or 10% referrer's fee for each job I pass on. I happen to know a small little clutch of writers who are very experienced in the industry, all freelance, and they've known each other for a very long time, so they've vetted each other, they've gotten to know each other, and they all have a rule among them that there is a 5% referrer's fee that they all take off of the jobs that they refer each other. So they all share work and pass it amongst themselves, and everybody is continually earning and continually getting work, which I think is a really sweet idea. I don't personally take a referrer's fee at the moment, but I did refer work last year to one of my freelance colleagues, and it must have been a particularly prolific job, I don't know, because she sent me this beautiful sheep's skull in the post, and I thought, that's so sweet that she knows me to send me a decapitated head. I just thought that was the sweetest thing. I've also known freelancers to send each other bunches of flowers, little trinkets in the post just as a thanks. I actually sent a personalised cookie to somebody last year to thank them for their help and advice. They didn't actually refer me for work, but I approached them for help, and they gave me a few tips which helped me land the gig of a lifetime. And to say thank you, sent her a cookie. So, another piece of etiquette to bear in mind. If there is a referrer's fee, usually the referrer will let you know ahead of time. If they haven't said anything, maybe just ask, who knows? And if the job is very substantial, a little gift doesn't do any harm. My final tip is to pass it on. Share the love. Don't just always request to be referred for work and never give it back. If somebody comes to you and the job's not quite right for you, pass it on. Don't shut the client down and that's it. No, I'm not interested. Good luck. Bye. Bye. Say, this isn't quite for me, but I know a handful of writers that would be an amazing fit. Can I refer someone to you or give you a list of names? For example, I think a hard no is always quite unhelpful and relatively rude, and I try not to do it myself. So what I've learned to do over time is build out a list of names of people that I know, that I've met, that I've seen the quality of their work and I know how good they are. And they're spread across all different sectors and industries and different disciplines. And whenever I'm approached for something that's not quite right, or I'm too jam-packed to take on more work, I have an established list of people that I know I feel happy to refer. I've seen their work, I know them, and I have a relationship where I feel like I can reach out and say, I'd like to refer you for this. Is that okay? Do you have space? Can I hand your name on? So try and build that in the back of your mind every time you meet somebody, or you've seen something amazing online that someone's done and you think they'd be good for a job like this. Remember to pass it on. Pay it forward. That's what I'm trying to say. Pay it forward. And that brings us to the end of the video. I hope this was helpful. I hope you get a shit ton of referrals. I hope you get a shit ton of referrals off of the back of this video, and likewise that you pass on loads of jobs to your peers because you know the etiquette of doing so and you're happy to share the wealth as well as take it. Because it always pays to be a giver as well as a taker. If you have any questions about anything I've discussed in this video here today, you can leave me a comment in the box below or find me on Twitter at @EJCownley and I'll chat with you there. Until next time, I'll see you back here, same time, same place in 2 weeks for more Kiss My A's. Take care, peace out.